everyone, and welcome back to The Lobby, GameSpot's weekly video game hangout. I'm Mike Mahardy. I'm here with Pete Brown, who's always here.
I'm always here.
Yeah.
I never leave.
What have you been up to lately?
Dang, not a whole lot. Wanting to play Persona, not playing Persona.
You should play Persona.
I know.
Just came out yesterday. Released yesterday, Western release. When did it come out in Japan? October?
September.
Last
year.
Oh, man, that game's good. I've been convincing people left and right, or trying to convince people to play it. I think I'm making headway with a few people in the office.
Rob want to play it yet?
Yeah, Rob Handler's here as well. Did you play it?
No, but I finally watched you play a bunch last Friday, and you kind of lured me in. It's a very interesting game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, I mean, it's my first Persona game, and I think maybe that's why it's selling people I talk to, because I don't have the background of
It's really
fandom.
Interesting, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, like immediately more interesting than the other ones.
Yeah. You get into it faster. I mean, we can keep talking about that. Callie, you're a Persona fan.
Yeah. I just want to go to anime high school. That's really my brand.
I don't like high school dramas. I liked High School Music. No, I didn't like High School Musical. I don't like high school dramas or melodramas, and this is very much that. But I actually like how they handle it, and I think it's actually it's a well-told story. There's a few twists that I like, and I don't normally...
I'm just so excited to see you turn into a true anime boy.
No.
Yeah.
It's going to happen.
No.
If you like Persona, you like anime, mark my words.
No, I don't. That's like saying if you like tomatoes, you like ketchup.
No,
I don't
it's
like
not.
ketchup.
There's literally anime. There's animation in the...
That's my least favorite part of Persona 5. Mm-hmm. Anyway, got a fun show lined up today. It's kind of a slow week. I mean, Persona released, but we've already talked about it enough that we might not delve back too much into it. But it's also, what is today, April... 5th.
The 5.
Since our last show, April Fool's has happened. I'm sure a lot of people watching this have seen our video we put up for April Fool's, engineered by this man right here.
I did some work.
Yeah.
We had other people work on it as well. Yeah, that happened.
We're going to get into that more, and we're going to kind of go through our favorite April Fool's jokes and videos around the internet. But I have a couple news items quick, as per usual, and a giveaway. Rob, I think you're going to be my model for this.
Oh.
Yeah. Nier Automata, the black box edition. And before you say it, I know it's white. The inside is black, but if you played the game, you know that all the androids, like 9S and 2B, have black boxes, like an airplane. Or, incidentally, you know what color black boxes are in real life?
Orange.
Thank you. Yeah, they're orange. But this comes with a 2B figure. Can you flip that around? I think it might show.
Wait, really?
Yeah, like her Lolita costume. Yeah.
Wait, can I win this? How
no.
do people win this?
If you follow GameSpot on Twitter, just tweet that Shiva, who runs our Twitter account, will be sending out shortly. Later in the week, we'll pick a winner. If you don't follow GameSpot, then do so and then retweet it. But yeah, it comes with the art book. It comes with that 2B figure. It comes with a steelbook case with 2B and 9S, and I forget the third character's name. All these androids, as well as some DLC that you can get for in-game purposes.
And this is for North American viewers only, right?
Yes. Yes, North American viewers will be able to get this. Apologies to anybody outside of North America. But cool. So yeah, that's pretty sweet. We also did an unboxing video, didn't we, of this?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's up.
Rob and Joey Yee and we have been doing some pretty funny unboxing videos lately. They did a Persona 5 one that'll be going up soon, the Steal Your Heart, Take Your Heart edition.
Yeah, that's
Wow,
tomorrow.
fake fan.
Yeah, I don't know shit about Persona 5. Cool. So yeah, like I said, we'll pick it. There it is. If you're in the Twitch chat, Khaleesi Plays. That's Shiva, who manages our Twitter account, does a lot of our social stuff. She just put that in the chat. So follow that link, retweet us, and later in the week we might pick you. Cool. So we have a couple of news items. Spider-Man 4 from Insomniac, developers of Ratchet and Clank and Edge of Nowhere. Recent VR release, as well as a lot of other games. They're working on a PS4 Spider-Man game, and the release date, it says it's coming this year. Sony announced it's coming this year. We do have some footage from it. There was one kind of teaser-ish trailer released earlier. It looks pretty good. I don't remember the last time we had a good Spider-Man game. The Amazing Spider-Man came out a few years ago. It was kind of mediocre, or at least I thought it was mediocre. But this looks fun. It's got like is that a classic Spider-Man cop? Do we have any?
Is this
Die
New
Hard
Donk City?
Do we have any diehard Spider-Man fans here? Rob, are you a Spider-Man fan?
No, but I like his eyes in this one.
Yeah, he's pretty cool. So yeah, this will be coming out sometime this year. People on Twitter were asking about it. They don't have a set release date yet, and we don't know anything about it either. But Obviously, we will update you when we know. Agents of Mayhem from developer Volition, who did Saints Row, that does have a release date now. That is August 15th. Oscar Deas over our UK office saw it recently and put up a preview. He was talking, it seems semi-fun, but he thinks it was a missed opportunity. You can go read more about that, but it just looks kind of batshit crazy, just like each Saints Row game progressively got more of. But it looks fun, kind of Crackdown vibes, at least at first glance. But like I said, we have more coverage of that up on our site. August 15th, you'll be able to play that. Later in the summer, kind of around, what are the games? That's a couple games. Shadow of War comes out in August. We'll get to that later. We're going to do a segment on our most anticipated games coming up. We're also going to do a segment on how many great Japanese games have come out this year and whether this is already like the best year for Japanese releases in recent memory or ever. And we're also going to talk about Battlefront 2, what we want in it. There will be an announcement coming next week at Star Wars Celebration in Orlando. That starts on the 13th or the 12th? 13th. 13th
Yes.
to the 16th, I believe. But anyways, during the Star Wars Celebration, the big convention, there will be Battlefront 2 news from EA and the people working on that. Cool, so let's get into it. Like I mentioned, if you were anywhere on the internet, April 1st, there were a lot of joke videos in the world of video games. Some of which pissed. The first one I want to talk about, Pete Brown, you were a little bit disappointed. Or at least, like, it kind of struck a nerve.
Yeah.
Tell me about it. What was it?
Square Enix teased this game that's not real called Alexander Tactics, it's like a spin-off of Final Fantasy XIV, which take place in Ivalice, just like the original Tactics did. And it's based on sort of this traditional summon from the series named Alexander. People love the Tactics games, maybe like Final Fantasy Tactics and Tactics Ogre more than the advanced games that came out on GBA. And this sort of like fits the classic, idea of a tactics game. And it looks, I don't know if it looks fun, but it looks like, yeah, I want to play this. This reminds me of things I love. It looks like it could be real. It's just a joke.
Final Fantasy Tactics is like your favorite game, isn't it?
It's my favorite game of all
You've been
time.
telling me to play it ever since I started at GameSpot, and
Yeah,
I've
why
been meaning
haven't
to.
you? Oh.
I'm a fan of like turn-based strategy games, and I feel like at least that part will scratch that itch.
Yeah. You're a real itchy guy, but I think it'd take care of that.
The shirt I'm wearing is making me itch.
Yeah, I mean, this is just unfortunate.
Rob, you're taking improv classes soon, aren't you? I should go with you. I suck at it.
No, you're not coming.
Okay, cool.
That was great improv.
Another one. He's a master.
Yeah,
God
yes,
damn.
and
You don't need
just
classes.
Threw that out the window.
Yeah. Fire Emblem Battle of Revolution, simultaneously a joke and the dumbest name ever. I'm just kidding. It just sounds kind of epic. But
Really,
Battle of
not
Revolution.
That's not
Well, it's not like
dumbest name
358 by 2 days or any of those Kingdom Hearts spin-offs.
2.8 final chapter
Yeah.
prologue. Whatever.
Don't get me going. So Fire Emblem Battle of Revolution. So Fire Emblem Echoes is releasing soonish, right?
Yeah, Shadows
and that
of
is
Valencia is May 19th.
that's a remake of.
That's a remake of Fire Emblem Gaiden, which was a Famicom game, which actually involves like a little bit of dungeon crawling. It's not just straight tactical battles.
Okay, and then Battle of Revolution on the Fire Emblem site, they published, or they just like redid the site for the day, showing off this supposed Battle of Revolution game.
I didn't get the joke beyond, hey, there's a new Fire Emblem game. Wait, no, there's not. Like, what was the nuance in that joke?
I thought it was because they announced Echoes recently, but then they also are doing that mobile one, so they're like, oh, here's another Fire Emblem
yeah,
game.
That's what I
thought-
just said. Like, is
yeah.
that just the joke?
Oh, I get-
Just
I
like,
guess. I don't
there's
know.
more. No, there's not.
I think the joke was like, we have so many Fire Emblem
Okay.
games coming out.
Okay.
There's another one, haha.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't get it. Maybe I need to be a Fire Emblem fan. Street Fighter, a new Street Fighter EX game?
Sorta. So the company Eureka, who developed the original Street Fighter EX game, showed off a trailer for something on April Fool's that has Street Fighter EX characters, no proper Street Fighter characters, mind you, only the ones that Eureka owns the rights to. And this looks like a really great demo. Like it's a 2D, 3D graphics, but 2D fighting game where the stages kind of allow you to like shift your position a little bit. And it just looks really good and it looks really complete. And everyone was kind of confused, like, this sucks. This is a joke. This looks rad. And I think they came out and they were saying, no, it's not a joke. We don't know what a joke is.
Yeah, well, didn't they? Weren't like PR people saying it was actually kind of just unfortunate timing? Did they not consider that like Western audiences
suppose.
might take this as a?
Yeah,
Prank?
I mean, that could totally be it.
So this might be real.
Yeah, but like there's no Arika doesn't have like a strong representation in America, so
Yeah.
I didn't hear any like real explanation. Like sorry, like if anything, it was just to the Japanese audience.
Well, I mean, April Fool's is a Western thing, so it's
Yeah.
of course it's not going to be a consideration.
Well, no, but you saw Nintendo do the Fire
Well,
Emblem
right,
thing, and
but
that
I'm
page
saying
was
like they should know
entirely
Western
Japanese.
audiences.
Oh,
are
that's
gonna-
true. That's true.
Yeah.
The point being, yeah, unfortunate timing, but I think this is going to be real based on the sort of backpedaling they've done, and I'm looking forward to it.
Cool. There's another one that actually turns out to be hinting at something possibly real. 8-bit Bayonetta they showed off.
Right.
What
It
a lot
looked
of
pretty good, like a
this.
2D side-scrolling
Didn't look that
Bayonetta.
good. Did not look
It
that good.
looked good.
No, it didn't.
Okay, I'm not like an expert on pixel 8-bit shit.
That's not just the look. That game was super straightforward.
But my point being, at least it was, but then it also like was leading to a countdown. There was a site and it showed what's her name, the main character's eyes, kind of, or no, that was a GIF or something. At one point they tweeted, and then it went to this countdown for April 10th. So this was probably that screenshot.
Hell of a countdown.
Yeah, that's a very engaging screenshot. John Luke just threw up.
Never take it down.
But yeah, that's as of yesterday. So yeah, April 10th, I believe there'll be an announcement. A lot of people are saying maybe like remastered Bayonetta 1 or 2.
Yeah.
Although 2 was what, 2015, 14? It was semi recently.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe remastered 1 or just like I don't know, coming to the Switch.
I'd
Is that
love
possible?
To see it come to Switch.
That would be awesome.
I've never played a Bayonetta game. I like Platinum games a lot. They're pretty fun. Are you a Bayonetta fan?
No, but I know that. God, who was it? Mark.
Walton.
Walton spoke very highly of it.
Yeah,
gave
gave
it a
it-
10 out of 10.
Yeah.
too. Yeah.
Bayonetta 2 got a 10 out of 10 on GameSpot.
I prefer long hair Bayonetta over short hair Bayonetta.
Yeah.
Wait, which one is long? Like
First Bayonetta.
The first one, yeah.
She
She's
has
long-haired?
Yeah, she has long hair.
Oh, but she still has like a sword foot
Yeah.
or an M16.
gun.
I'm thinking of
a gun,
Grindhouse.
a weapon foot.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Weapon
pretty sweet.
foot.
Like
She went
Metal
all
Gear
Sarah
Rising
Palin for
Revengeance.
the second one.
Platinum likes sharp limbs. Cool. And then the last one, which a lot of people are still seeing, and a lot of people are seeing the headline, which GameSpot added April Fools to, are still taking it seriously. But a lot of work went into our April Fools video. You might have seen it again if you're watching this stream.
We're sorry.
Specifically, Rob and our motion graphics designer, Girk, worked pretty tirelessly on this. Rob was up literally all night Friday to hit the April 1st deadline.
Yeah, here it is.
Yeah, how to control a guardian in Zelda. So this is all kind of faked. Well, a lot of it.
Yeah. It was a pretty fun thing to do once I completed it. I mean, it all started in the features meetings we have every week, and Justin was like, we got to think of an April Fool's thing. And then I said, oh, what if we like faked Link in a tank? And Justin said, what about a guardian? And then the room went silent and our eyes all lit up. Next thing I know, we're trying to make it happen. And so, yeah, this is all fake. We cannot do any of this despite multiple comments. And the comments keep coming. I check it a couple times a day, and there's still people like, I mean, it says April Fool's in the title. I don't get what else do you do with your life. You can't read the whole title. I'm sorry, but I like
Well,
feel
for the first,
bad.
to clarify, for the first 2 days, it did not say that.
Yeah.
Right.
Correct.
Yeah,
So that's
but
fine.
you wanted to go through, or like we wanted to kind of ask you about the process of making this, because there's a lot of stuff in that video that is real, but you kind of repurposed it for the purposes of the visuals and to make it look like a guardian.
Yes.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So yeah, just to, we have Girk, our amazing graphics guy who helped me out. It was really fun to do. So we started, Justin, myself, and a couple other people involved. We're just thinking like, all right, well, how do we want to go about making this? You have to draw it out, right? Like these are the steps you need in order to get into a guardian. So we had a lot of things in the works. Like we thought about what if you go to the top of like Satori Mountain at 3 p.m. and whistle, and then wait for whistle to come back, and then whistle again. So we were doing all these steps, and then it came down to like, all right, it's an item. So then we're like, how would you do it? So I was thinking, well, rare items. So it's like dragon parts. So I basically made a dragon guide, which people in the comments were like, "It's actually a pretty good dragon guide as far as
It
like
was, though.
farming." Yeah,
It was, yeah.
yeah, and then you throw it all into a. How else do you make things? Well, you cook it. So you throw it all into a pot, and then we threw in a giant, ancient giant core or whatever it is.
It's a pretty valuable item.
It is, and
I feel bad for everybody who tried it and wasted.
a lot of
people
people
are still
did.
doing
The
it.
game's got great autosaves.
That's
You can
true.
just roll back.
Yeah, it was a lot of people who the comments were pretty great. I mean, one guy was just like, God effing damn it. That was my favorite, excuse me. But yeah, anyway, so I asked, we started with, okay, Girk. So here's me, I used the early phases. I was like, all right, Girk, can you make me this prompt? We got to have a prompt, right, in order to get into the Guardian. And then I showed him images of Guardian items, and here he is making the first stage of the key. And there it is, final stage there. It looks awesome, like kind of cel-shaded shadows and stuff. And then I was like, all right, Girk, this is what the Guardian looks like. Me dying to it. And so he made a little graphic there, early stages there of the flare, and then that's...
Was the Fennec bow?
So that was the other thing is I kind of knew this early on because if you know the game, there's a Fennec bow, which is like a sharpshooter bow that essentially lets you aim down sights and eliminates Link entirely from the HUD. So I knew we had to incorporate that. So essentially, here's me, and then I kill the Guardian, which I show going up to. So obviously this is all cut out, and so then here's me basically like, all right, here's where feasibly I'm cutting this out, and I'm going to start inside the Guardian. So I call the horse bomb arrows, of course, and then here's the Fennec. So there you go, and then that's your HUD. So then,
so you're lifted off the ground.
Yeah, so you have that height, right, which is pretty key. So then I'm like, yeah, just this is basically the footage I gave to Girk, and of course I had to like hold down aim the whole time because once you fire, it actually goes back out to third person. So here's me. Oh, here's another thing too is the bokoblins here. Bomb arrows only do so much, but later in the game you have silver bokoblins, right? Those do not die in one hit. So I had to only kill really low-level guys, which was funny. And this is my favorite right here was I was trying to get footage for Girk, and I accidentally made a Guardian glitch out. So I spun the camera and put the camera into the Guardian and got like generic, legit walking sound effects of the Guardian just in place moving. So that's what I used for, And so then here is... the font, we couldn't find the font, and I realized it was all about the A. The A, I don't know what type of A you would call it. It's like, as far as font styles go. But anyways, I ended up just getting screenshots, and so I cut out just for the title, and then the rest is a font that we found. But just for the title, Ancient Guardian is like actual in-game font. This is literally what I did all night, was this type of stuff. So then I added the key, and the other thing that was tricky was... if you know, in the pop-up of the menu, this is an upside down of a skewer. I wanted to get that glow to put behind the key, so I had to like crop out the skewer just enough to put behind the key. Oh, again, this is like...
like that flare that comes up behind certain
right,
items.
like that was pretty crucial. And then here is basically layered 3 images. So then you have to incorporate... All right, so when you get an item or cook an item, Link is actually moving. So if you look at it, there's actually a bunch of jump cuts, but you had to have Link moving behind. So I basically had him stand there, and then I cropped out all the hearts and prompts in order to make it look legit. And then here's the finale. Bam. Here's the cut.
That was awesome.
Oh my god.
Did you come up with that text too? You distilled.
I'm sorry. Justin is awesome. If you read the text, it's really great. I forget what it says, but
you distilled the power, wisdom of courage.
Right. It's very much in the same vein of the style they have for like more ambiguous, mysterious items, which was great. And then here's the final thing.
Oh my gosh.
I think maybe you, Peter, stepped in and I think you mentioned the eye, so that's kind of like that.
Oh, I did the smallest thing in this.
And I wanted to show the chat I had with Girk, where he's still, this was late Friday, where I'm like, can you just give me your files? And he's like, no. Dude, I won't mess it up.
I looked over at one point, like probably, because I was there like semi-late for a Friday. I think I was there till 8 p.m. that night, which is nothing compared to your 1 p.m. the next day. But I looked over at your Google Doc that you shared with him for like ideas and stuff, and the title of the Google Doc was "I'm so sorry, I'll buy you dinner at some point." It was an apology for the in the title.
Yeah,
it was good.
If Girk is watching, I think he's here today. I'll have to go buy him some lunch.
Make good on that promise.
Yeah.
No, it was awesome.
He kicked ass, and it was. I was thinking about it like that morning. I was like pretty delusional. I was thinking like this is gonna fail. No one's gonna believe this, and I almost wish. Part of me wishes it was like not apparently so believable, because again, some of the comments are pretty.
There's still people coming in and be like, "What the?"
There's so many people who are like, "I spent all day trying to do this," and I'm like, "Yeah, please reload your save. Please don't.
But then on the flip, there are some people who were in on the joke, just trolling along with everyone, and those actually gave me the biggest laughs. Where was one guy, anyone who was on the fence, like, I can't tell, is this real or is this fake? Is this April Fool's? Some guy's just like fat paragraph, yeah, it's real. And it turns out you can't register at Stables. Like when you do, like everyone in the town gets scared and they kind of clip through the walls. So you want to like, expect a patch coming. I don't know. People are like, okay, cool, thanks. And then they go try it, I guess.
Didn't someone start saying like, you need the falling star from like this area or something?
I feel like that was
That's
probably
the
the
other one,
ingredient that should have been in there.
Star fragment.
Star fragment.
Yeah, that's
can
the
you
hardest to
imagine?
get.
Yeah.
No, it was awesome. Regardless, we all had like a work gathering the next day on a Saturday, and Bob came over, and I was like, "How late?"
Delirious.
I was like, "How late were you at the office last night?" He's like, "I just left the office like an hour ago." I was like, "Jesus!" But it was awesome. It was worth it. Like we were all kind of joking about the comments coming in. And I was like in a car on the way over, laughing at. It was at like 10,000 views before. What is that? Like 500K now?
Now it's at, I think, 420,000. 420,000. Excuse me.
Yeah.
No, yeah, I think about April Fools, like you see these other outlets or even just major companies doing some, and they're just so obvious. Right. And there's a way you can do it where it's obvious and just funny, but I think this one was fun to make because it was a legitimate prank opposed to like a goof. And so I think that was kind of fun to do.
That's the big difference. A goof versus a prank.
Yeah.
Love it.
You're usually a goofy guy, so this surprised me.
Oh.
Cool. Well, anyway, you can go watch that in its entirety on GameSpot, as well as those other ones we mentioned, but we like to think that was the most well-done video and whatnot from April Fools. If you want to try, you can still try to do what the video told you, but as we've said numerous times, it's not going to work.
I mean, maybe the joke is that it is real.
That'd be funny if... What about Zelda
con.
DLC?
What if it's part of the DLC? Oops.
Guardian ownership? Okay, anyway, Rob, good work on that. Girk, if you're watching, same with you. Speaking of Zelda, we do want to do a segment today. Like I had mentioned, there are a lot of good games coming out this year already. It's a really, really packed first quarter. And one thing a lot of people are pointing out is that a lot of them are coming out of Japan. I think last year there were a few. There's Final Fantasy 15, Last Guardian. Street Fighter 5 was semi-mediocre-ish, but like some people liked it.
That's not worth getting super excited about.
Right.
I mean, the games that we, I think, want to talk about today are the ones that are super exciting, right?
Yeah.
And even the ones you just mentioned, those were only like 6 months ago.
Yeah.
Like it's just the period alone. Forget the calendar year. Like right now,
it was
super
like
hot time.
Momentum carried over from last year or something. So we did want to talk about kind of a couple other years that were really good for Japanese releases. Obviously, there are a lot back in the 90s, but just this year in general, there are already several games which when I was playing them, I was like, this is going to be hard to beat for my game of the year. And then I was looking at the release schedule up ahead, and obviously you don't want to get too hyperbolic and ahead of yourself, but I was playing Resident Evil 7, and as a Resident Evil fan, as someone who is really happy to see this game go back to its roots, as someone who is happy to see Capcom do something great after, like I just mentioned, Street Fighter 5 was kind of a disappointment last year. Resident Evil 6, the last numbered entry, was a huge disappointment. It seems like Capcom knows what they're doing if you were to judge it off Resident Evil 7. I love this game. It's definitely going to be up there when we talk Game of the Year at the end of the year, but we did like that Reviving Resident Evil documentary series about this game. Scott gave it an 8 out of 10, I believe. Scored well. This game is fantastic for a lot of reasons. I've been wanting to replay it if it wasn't for all these other games that I want to talk about. But do you guys all play it?
I played, a bunch of hours.
I haven't finished it. I'm scared.
Yeah.
It's scary. I get scared easy, and I always find myself playing it like really late at night in like my closed room, lights out.
Yeah.
It's like, oh.
Yeah, I was like, it's
Bedtime.
1 a.m. Yeah. Time
also,
to play.
It's also, did you play in PSVR at all, Pete?
No.
Jean-Luc did play this game a lot. He did a feature on why the Madhouse difficulty is really fun to play, and that video is killing it. Like, people are really interested in... I don't know. I think people play this game and then they want to try it in VR. They want to try it in harder difficulty because it's kind of known for its difficulty. It's doing really well.
Did he not play the whole game in VR?
He played the whole game in VR, but then he played a lot of it in Madhouse difficulty separately, I believe. He might correct me. I'm not sure if he played that in VR as well. But there's a lot of interest around this game for good reason. I think it took a lot of modern horror game conceits. Like moving to first person, people were saying they were copying Outlast, PT, but I don't know. They did. I always keep saying this is sort of akin to if Remake were in first person almost, in the sense that you're in this more isolated area and kind of backtracking in a meaningful way, really getting to know the landscape like you did in Remake or Resident Evil 2's Police Station or Resident Evil 1's Spencer Mansion or even Resident Evil 3's kind of urban Raccoon City. Yeah, I mean, I've been kind of overloaded with Resident Evil lately. Mary Kish, former GameSpot producer, I'm sure a lot of people in the chat know her. Her and I still play through all the Resident Evil games on Resident Knievel, that series we do. And 7 was the biggest breath of fresh air because I love Resident Evil. I love Remake. It's one of my favorite games. But, it's easy to get burnt out. This game really reignited my love for the franchise. And it was no small feat for Capcom to do that, especially considering the recent Resident Evil releases and, last year, their big release was Street Fighter V, and it disappointed, commercially and critically, I think. But moving on from Resident Evil 7, this is a game that, Pete, you played a little bit, Nier Automata, however you want to say it.
Yeah.
Really interesting game. We gave it a 9 out of 10. Miguel Concepcion reviewed it. What do you think of it?
So it's, I think Platinum Games gets a bad rap sometimes because they put out things that people are like, well, where's that Platinum magic? Well, here is the Platinum magic. I mean, this game perfectly encapsulates what they do, but it also brings the Yoko Taro, kind of the principal mind behind the story of the world.
What else did he work on?
Drakengard games, the original Nier. I mean, he's worked on sort of a smattering of things, but he's very much into changing up what he does game to game. He never really wants to stay too consistent. And there's just, even in just a couple hours, this game presents a lot of different ideas, both in terms of gameplay and the philosophy, maybe that its characters are considering, and just the philosophy of the world at large. I still have to finish it. There's just so much going on right now, but this game is really cool. And it's nice to see Platinum Games, especially bouncing off of the cancellation of Scalebound, put something out that's just remarkable and catching attention outside of maybe its usual demographic.
Yeah, this is one that I've been not putting off, but I've just kind of I keep tabling because something else comes up. But everyone's saying I thought I was going to skip it. You should not skip it. Don't pass on this because it is really something special, and that means a lot to me. And I'm excited to actually really get into it. And it has how many endings?
I think 26.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not all like a narrative ending, right? Some are just quirky little twists to the credit sequences or something like that. But yeah, there's a lot of different things you can get out of this game.
Yeah, you should definitely play this game. I know there's a lot of other good releases, but yeah, like you said, it's nice to see Platinum after Scalebound being canceled and what was their last release? Turtles in Manhattan.
Sure.
Mutants in Manhattan. I forget the name of it. It's a forgettable game. This is not. You should play this. The first game was kind of a cult classic, but with Platinum's help and just Yoko Taro's direction on this weird world, and the progression in this game is fun. The combat is fantastic. The world itself is weird and fun to explore in a year of really good open worlds. Definitely check this game out. Like I said, that was the giveaway we mentioned earlier, but this is well worth playing if you can find the time. Yakuza 0.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You like this game a lot? Well,
Yeah,
Rob
liked it too.
Yeah.
This is, you're talking about getting people into Persona. I played this game and I immediately thought, who would love this? It was Rob. And I was texting him on a weekend and he was just like, what? Why? This sounds dumb. Okay, sure, dude, I'll give it a shot. And 2 days later, just huge grin on your face. I mean, it's so hard to explain this game. It's a super serious Yakuza drama narrative, and then low grade gameplay, but done in a self-aware way that's dressed with humor and just absurdity. It's such a refreshing break from I think a lot of the self-serious stuff that we play all the time, even though it has that stuff in it.
It's self-aware, right?
And just that, you just kind of said it, but just that refreshing dynamic, right?
Yeah.
To have these really heavy-handed narrative moments, and then it's throw on some Looney Tunes. I don't know. There's something about it that is so appealing, and it keeps you just jumpstarts your brain every so often. It's really fun.
Yeah, it doesn't hinge it's an open world game, but it doesn't hinge its success on the biggest open world with all this stuff, right? It's just what you need, right? And even when you explore that world, you find things like arcades. You join a real estate company and you get to manage property, all these various things. Then it opens up into a whole other city. There are places where you can go to watch softcore porn. That is very embarrassing. There's all sorts of stuff.
Sick too.
This guy, I love this character so much.
He's such a prick.
Sick, so good. Sick chest paddles on those tats though.
I saw like a video of the main character like really dramatically answering the phone. Like it takes 10 whole seconds.
Yeah.
And then he like picks it up and it's just like moshi moshi. And it's just like I think that's the perfect, like it's so serious and it's like just kidding, we weren't that serious.
One of my favorite like mini quests was this girl finds you and she's like, "Hey, I told my dad that I'm dating a guy and you look just like him. Can you help me talk to my dad to convince him I wasn't lying?" And that character in particular is this really tall dude with a ponytail and an eye patch. So and it's like, "I look like the guy you described to your dad?" She's like, "Yes, perfectly." So you go and like this dad is like grilling you, and the daughter gets up to go to the bathroom, and the dad goes, "Look, I know you're not her boyfriend. I'm just doing this because I love my daughter." And like,
Oh, yeah, there's a lot of that.
it's like such a but the whole time before that conversation, you're trying to like answer his questions that are like, "I never thought about what I do for a living. I never thought about oh crap, like all this stuff."
It's like the plot of Summer Wars. Have you seen Summer Wars?
Oh no, people have told me to watch it. I haven't seen it.
No, yeah, like that side quest reminds me of another one where it's just, you're led to believe it's the one where you're helping a kid whose game got stolen, and you're just it's what seems to be very generic and like systematic. Like, okay, I know I gotta go from this guy to this guy to this guy. By the end of it, you're kind of like slapped across the face with like a complete twist that like is endearing, where you're just like, wow, you were completely leading me into like believing this was going to end how I would expect it, but no, I like it.
Right.
It happens like very often with each of these just generic, what seem to be generic mini like side quests. Yeah.
Kicking off the year, one game that kind of ended up flying under the radar, maybe because subsequent releases, but Gravity Rush 2.
Flying, I like what you did there. Yeah, I think I don't know. Like, I think I like this game more than most people. It didn't review as high, maybe in line with like what I had to say. I gave it a 9. I think it's certainly very different in what it does with this whole gravity mechanic. And the first game had that too, but it feels like the world is designed to sort of make that more enjoyable now in this game. And Kat is just a wonderful character. I really like her. It's just something so different, and it just really struck a chord with me.
You think it's worth maybe giving it some time before you finish all the other games to go back and check out if you haven't yet?
I think it's definitely worth trying. I mean, how many games let you literally, like, it's not even fly, like, because you fly, but then you can land on any surface and gravity changes to that surface, right? So you can walk on walls like it's nothing, and it really changes your perspective on the world, let alone what advantages it gives you, in combat or exploration. And it looks a lot like, sort of a Ghibli-esque universe as well. Like when you start to interact with it, you realize that more and more, and you find certain things. It just rang true to me.
Another early game this year that I absolutely adore from Team Ninja is Neo. If you were to tell me like when they first announced it, I played a preview at GDC last year, I believe. People who made Ninja Gaiden are doing a Dark Souls structured game. And it's kind of, when this game released, we kind of had to ask ourselves, is that Dark Souls structure becoming a genre unto itself almost, that style of RPG? Neo is the one game, even after Zelda, even after Nier, after Resident Evil 7, Neo is the one game I absolutely know I'm going to go back and finish, and I want to, and I can't wait. I love this game. It might be like my second favorite game of the year so far, and it surprised me because I didn't expect to really like it, because they were clearly like very self-aware about it, but chasing that Dark Souls formula, and they nailed it, and they put their own twist on it, and the Japanese, taking like Japanese folklore and actually basing it off this Englishman, Edward, I forget his last name, who came and became a samurai. He was the first like Westerner to become a samurai in actual history, but kind of parodying that in some ways in this. This game is awesome. I can't speak highly enough of it. I know Eric Tay liked it. Miguel Concepcion gave it a 9 out of 10 when he reviewed it. This game's also really hard. This makes Dark Souls 3, which came out last year, seem easy by comparison. And I'm not exaggerating. I think Dark Souls games are very difficult, but I have far more trouble beating something in this game than I do in Dark Souls. But fast paced, it's a little twitchier, as you can kind of see. And then there's a lot of like high, low, mid stances you can see on the HUD there with your sword.
Rip.
This game is, I can't speak highly enough of it. I hate fighting that guy. I have not beaten him yet, but yeah, play Neo if you are into those kind of games, or even if you want to try something new and want something really difficult and rewarding.
Do you think if you're not used to those games though, you can start on like the most difficult one you've played?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's it's unique, and it's kind of has its own individual traits that set it apart. Mainly in the overarching structure. It's not this interconnected kind of open world like Dark Souls games are or
Yeah.
Bloodborne.
Right.
It is, you select a mission, go into it, and then you can return afterwards to do like Twilight versions, which give you better loot. Sorry, the loot is also a huge part of this game. Dark Souls, you get, one weapon and you they almost encourage you or force you to concentrate on one or two weapons to upgrade them completely through these specific materials that will upgrade them. This encourages you and almost forces you to switch weapons a lot, or at least you get one weapon that you'll get a higher familiarity with, which will help you be better with it. But so you kind of want to stick to one weapon once you get used to it, but you're going to find a better one like down the road. And like I said, I know Eric Tay really liked this game. I haven't really picked his brain on what he thinks of it compared to a Dark Souls game. And, not to be reductive, but that's the clear comparison to make. But this game is fantastic. I'm looking forward to potential sequels in the future. I haven't even beaten this yet, and I'm already looking forward to games they might follow up with. But this is that one that I really want to go back and finish. It feels great mechanically, structurally. It's very well designed, but just like it's really rewarding in general. But yeah, anyway, I've talked enough about that. Moving on to before we get to Persona, because that just released yesterday, I want to end with that. The one that I think, obviously Zelda, every outlet. I mean, you got tens. I can't think of a place. There are individual people and there are individual reviewers that didn't absolutely love it, but still liked it. But I think by and large, it got tens all over the place, right? They start popping up everywhere. Pete, you gave it a 10. A lot of us who were playing while you were reviewing were like, yeah, I think Pete might give it a 10. We all agree with that, or a lot of us agree with that. I think everyone here has played it a lot. And I do have a question on Twitter about our potential game of the year so far. And I feel like, not to take words out of people's mouth, this might be what they say, but I don't know.
I've not seen a single game have such a lasting impact on our conversations, like day to day.
Yeah.
I mean, this game came out a month ago, and we still talk about it every single day.
I
with
play it every
excitement
day.
and joy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Even just this morning.
Yeah.
Before we started recording, we were talking about it.
Yeah.
It's a game that I think revolutionizes a lot of what makes open world games special, and it does so in a way that's super just organic and natural. It doesn't feel like you have to learn all these new things. Like you learn them in the game, but you've learned them kind of naturally. And then by the end, you're like, I can't think of an experience I've ever had where I could just do and combine so many things together. And the game had never really gone out of its way to tell you, right? I mean, it's that process of discovery, but then also looking back and thinking like, wow, all the things I have done in this game, it's a lot to think about, and it's a lot to just feel great about.
This game is so unlike Zelda games, right? It feels like it's taken such a risk with like just difficulty right off the bat, and then you think about the open world mechanic of like getting on a tower and then picking your own areas to explore. I find that so awesome, and I think about any other like Assassin's Creed or like similar type game where I don't know how I will look at those games now. Like as far as like seeing a map with everything laid out for me. Yeah, make your own story with this game. Like, it's what it feels like, and that's what everyone's been doing.
There's going to be a weird fallout following this. Like, once we start to see, more games come out in the coming months, it's going to be like, well, I think, like you said, I think about these things differently now because we live in a world where this is a game.
Yeah, I mean, what was it? 2 or 3 weeks before this release, you gave Horizon a 9, and that's a fantastic game. That's not a Japanese release,
right.
But you loved it, and for a lot of the open world reason, and I do too.
But that was pre-Zelda, Pete.
Yeah, it's weird. Like a couple weeks later, it was a new. You just are forced to look at these games differently.
Yeah,
because of Zelda.
I think the praise I have for Horizon mostly still stands, but Zelda certainly has taken my attention away from it.
Yeah.
I find myself playing other games and wishing I could do the things I can do in Breath of the Wild. And it's weird, like I have impulses now that I didn't before.
Yeah.
I also do want to say that it's very Ghibli in a lot of ways, and I think it has one of my favorite iterations of Zelda ever. I just finished all the memories, and so now I can say that definitively.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's pretty interesting.
There's more to her than there has been.
Kelly, I think you were at IGN when Metal Gear Solid 5 released.
I was.
Did you? So that I think when you said, Pete, that this has kind of dominated our conversations, our water cooler conversations in the office. I think the last game I can think of that did that was Metal Gear Solid 5.
And Witcher 3.
Yeah.
And Witcher 3, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, but certainly not for as long and not with as many not with as much variety of like it was like we're sharing like folk tales with each other.
Yeah, I mean, like I literally found something a couple days ago, and I was like, why didn't anyone tell me I could do this?
Yeah, it's still happening, right? Yesterday they showed that person who put a metal box on a minecart. So standing on top of the metal box allowed them to move the minecart beneath them because they weren't on the minecart, so it didn't automatically turn off magnesis. Yeah. Which is crazy. And then they went up to like the invisible ceiling of Hyrule and just started flying around on that. But yeah, I think maybe I'm comparing it to Metal Gear Solid 5 when we do that just because of that emergent gameplay. All the stories we're telling aren't scripted plot points, aren't cutscenes. They are. I mean, we can talk about those memories all we want, but it's stuff like this. It's, climbing a cliff in a rainstorm right after you just fought a bunch of moblins and you're just half dead. And it was really tense just getting to the top of this summit. Or, like snowboarding down this specific mountain over this narrow bridge that no one else has seen, or finding that Eventide Island where it was almost like this survival trial. Stumbling across these things is just the stories in themselves that we all share. And I think Metal Gear Solid 5 was the last time I felt like that.
Yeah, I mean, I think maybe my favorite thing, and the reason I can play this game, many of us can over 100 hours, is it's really good at keeping its grand ideas like present but kind of hidden. Like as you realize the more you can do and the rules of the world, you still see new challenges that are there, but they're not like quests, right? It's getting to a certain place like you described. It's being able to master something, and the game doesn't force you to do it. It just allows you to kind of figure it out. Metal Gear was a case where I think it was so much dependent on your equipment that when you got the equipment, you were kind of like, okay, well now I can do that thing that I've been thinking about. Here, it's like it's more about your like intuition and your understanding of Link's just basic skills to get it done.
And the environment, right? Like,
right.
I think one of the reasons why I'm really still liking it is because I think so many games have that fault of, by the late end game, you're so overpowered, right? With like, you've maxed everything out, you're wrecking enemies left and right. But then there's something about like, even just me playing like, climbing a mountain and I slip because I'm climbing a mountain and I'm out of stamina. Oh crap, there's a river below me. I'm dead.
Yeah.
And that's you forgetting. Like, and that's where you kind of have that wake up call where, you got to be attentive with this game, and that's what's so enjoyable.
At first I really was annoyed with the weapons breaking all the time, but the further I get into this game, the more grateful I am for that, because it has extended the amount of time I can stay in this version of Hyrule, if that makes sense. Like I still have one more divine beast that I've been putting off because I know once I do that, I'm gonna be like, I should probably go fight Ganon now. But I haven't felt overpowered. I mean, I have like 3 rings of stamina and I'm doing all that, but I still feel like, okay, to get all the way over there, I can't climb this mountain. There's no way I can do it. Or, oh no, it's raining. Well, now what am I going to do? It has such a long tail to it. I love it so much.
Yeah, no, we talked about Zelda a lot on the lobby, and we've covered it a lot, and we still are covering a lot because there's a lot to cover. We've also talked about Persona 5 a lot recently. And I do have a question on Twitter about like what so far is our Game of the Year contender, and I'm sure a lot of people would say Zelda, and I think I would too. But just to play devil's advocate, I won't shut up about Persona 5, and I know a lot of people won't. That's nothing out of the ordinary, but I like JRPGs a lot. I like stuff of this style, and it still surprised me though. I'm not a Persona fan coming into this, and I've been playing it. And I've been telling people come over and ask me about it, and I can't shut up about it. Lucy James, you can read her review. She gave it a 9 out of 10. She loved it. I know Timur Hussein over in the UK and Miguel Concepcion here both been playing it a lot as well. I'm in love with this game. I can't stop playing it. It's torn me away from Zelda. They're not the same thing at all, but maybe that's why I'm really enjoying it, because it's different from that open world immersion gameplay. This is kind of the feeling I wanted from Mass Effect, this linear story where you develop these relationships, but I'm not in it for this like social sim parts. I like that those feed into this world a lot. I like that those affect your combat and your camaraderie in the team, how they work together in the combat and in these dungeon crawls in indirect ways. But I fell in love with this game immediately almost, and I can't stop playing it.
What keeps bringing you back? Like, what are you excited to like get into when you turn this thing on?
It's weird. I love that the grind is fun in this game, and it doesn't even feel like grinding. It feels weird to call it grinding because people who play Persona know you're thieves that go into this metaverse, this kind of matrix alternate reality, which is a psychological manifestation of like villains' minds or hearts, they say, kind of their soul, and you have to steal the treasure and essentially change their heart in the real world to make them good people or confess for their sins. You're vigilantes, and there's a lot of actual philosophical stuff in the game about whether you are doing good deeds or whether this is just as fucked up as what they're doing. But I mean, you go into this world and the characterization is even deeper because you see, like Pete, what hooked me on this before I played it, he was telling me, like, the personas that attach themselves to your characters are the things you suppress in real life. So on here, it's dressed like her persona is like a dominatrix, Carmen from this book. It escapes me, the novel. But and then you have Ryuji, who's a rebel, kind of his Captain Kidd, the pirate, is his persona. It's what they suppress in the real world, like their sexuality or their rebellious nature or even their kind of, their confidence that they might not have in the real world. And it's interesting to see how the real world, through stats and through your, building your confidant relationships so you can have new abilities, or going around Tokyo during this high school point in the main character's life, and seeing how that affects the metaverse. But also it gets even more interesting to me to see how stuff that these characters are doing in the metaverse affects their real personalities and how you can see that kind of flourish too. And I don't know, the combat is great. The negotiations are really fun. If you can stun people or like subdue them for long enough, you get to absorb them. It kind of becomes almost like Pokemon. I tell people who aren't familiar with the series. She's my favorite character, Makoto. Her persona's like a Tron-like motorcycle. It's awesome that she rides.
her bike's
Johanna.
cool.
Yeah. And she uses like brass knuckles and shit. She's awesome. But this game has hooked me. And if there's another game that you're a contender for me right now, it is Persona 5.
Okay.
I would say it's kind of an interesting take in my eyes on like the superhero genre, except your alternate superhero has more meaning, right? In the reflection of your real life, opposed to like putting on a mask and being so like amazingly awesome, right?
Yeah.
Like it's like an interesting take on like the counter opposite or something. That's kind of intriguing.
And I usually don't like melodramatic stuff, and I know that's kind of become a trope for JRPGs, or at least, I mean, like, looking at it on a surface level, it's not always the case. But I mean, this is a high school melodrama, right? These characters, they'll state obvious things in a really stylish way. I mean, the game's stylish. Everybody sees that. Going between the menus, the music, this jazz kind of rock, weird hybrid soundtrack. But I really like the characters, and you just, people are telling me it's like a social sim, and I don't really like things like that. But again, it feeds into the game in a meaningful way, and you have these time limits before you have to go do these heists. Almost made me feel like preparing for a heist in GTA 5. Bad comparison, the games aren't similar, but I like that they have a time limit so the grind feels meaningful.
I do want to touch on something you said earlier, is that this is very much not the same thing as Zelda, and I think that's true for all of the games we talked about. All these Japanese games are very distinct and different, and we've gotten a really good variety. In addition to it being like a good year so far for Japanese games, like this is a game you can put in 100+ hours into, and it's very different from sinking 100 hours into Zelda or sinking a ton of hours into Neo. And I think that's also worth noting. Like, these aren't all the same thing. And going back to like what's your early game of the year contender? I mean, it's very hard to say because these aren't one-to-one comparisons. Like, this is, you put 100 hours into these social links and into getting to know these characters and seeing, what does your persona reveal about who you are. Versus, go in Zelda, exploring a world and discovering something new and having your own story to tell. Like, it's very different. It's hard to say because none of them are the same.
Yeah.
Getting a level 4 upgrade on that Chilean armor, right? Worth it.
Yeah, really quick. Mark M on Twitter, before we close this segment, was asking so far what our game of the year contender is. Callie.
Zelda.
Rob.
Same.
Yeah. Pete.
Yeah, Zelda.
Just to play devil's advocate, I would probably say Zelda, but I'm going to say Persona 5 right now, and I'm about halfway through it. But yeah.
So Zelda.
No, Persona 5.
Okay.
No, just kidding. But seriously. Cool. So, damn, we talked about those games for a while, but, they deserve their credit. It's a great year for Japanese games, great year for games in general. We didn't talk about Horizon. We did talk about Horizon. Well, we did talk about Horizon. We didn't, delve into it too much, but that game's also very fantastic. But I did want to move on and talk specifically about a game that like I said, will be mentioned more next week. We're going to get into other games we're anticipating this year, but I wanted to specifically talk about Battlefront 2 first. Rob, you and I played a lot of Battlefront. I reviewed it. I gave it a 7 out of 10 last year. 2 years ago. Sorry, 2015.
Yeah,
it was longer than it feels. But Battlefront 2 officially announced. It has a single-player campaign. They're going to announce more of it at Star Wars Celebration next week in Orlando from the 12th to the 16th, I believe it's taking place. But we want to talk about what we want from it. Callie, it seems like you played a lot of earlier Battlefront games.
Yeah, I was a big fan of I was just really into Star Wars games in that era when there were a ton of Star Wars games.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I also will be attending Star Wars Celebration.
Oh, that's awesome. I'm jealous.
I did one year. It's actually like, of the conventions I've been to, it's probably the most enjoyable because it's a pretty, whether you're a Star Wars fan or not, there's something to be said about seeing like a multi-generation in one room where it's not just a dad and his son or his daughter. It's the granddad and his son and their daughter. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you just see these families go, and the kids are just like so giggity and just like, well, wow. It's just a really cool experience just to kind of walk around. And it's less stressful than like a Comic-Con. People are just sprinting to like a Suicide Squad.
Exclusive merch.
Yeah, I mean, I told you guys before, like I had like a mild panic attack at like last Comic-Con trying to get somewhere with a camera kit, and it's Suicide Squad panel, and everyone's just, get me out of here. Yeah. But yeah, and it's a very cool event, and yeah, you should be really excited. It's gonna be awesome.
I'm absolutely excited.
Talking specifically about Battlefront, the remake last year that DICE did, 2015 that DICE did, a lot of like spectacle. It felt great as a Star Wars game, but as a shooter, I didn't really find it too engrossing. It felt a lot of surface, and I got bored really fast after I saw all the planets, played all the different factions.
It did not capture me whatsoever.
Yeah. It felt like a dumbed down Battlefield, but with Star Wars skin to me.
Yeah.
And then like all the modes that they kind of threw in there. Again, it looks great, like fantastic, but it's also, as a Star Wars fan, I liked it. As a person who likes video games, it wasn't too thrilling for me. So I guess building off that and then going back to what we liked about Battlefront 1 and 2 from back in the day on the Xbox PS2 GameCube era. Or they weren't on GameCube. Xbox PS2. What do we want to see in Battlefront 2? Callie, like what's one major thing you want this Battlefront 2 from EA and DICE to do?
I mean, I'm really excited about the single player, honestly. I get really anxious about playing online sometimes, and I like to have, like, if I'm, if I just want to like relax, or I'm like, I just want to play Battlefront like by myself. I just want to like experience some Star Wars, maybe have a little like story stuff, or go to a planet that I really like from the movies. I want to be able to do that on my own time, and so I'm really excited. I hope they do something really meaningful with the single player campaign. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm honestly so excited for that. I know a lot of people are into multiplayer. But.
Yeah, I totally agree. And remembering the first two games, like. Yeah, Peter just sighed looking at this footage. I mean, we'll talk about those heroes later, but yeah, as far as like the Galactic Conquest mode, right? Mm-hmm. Where it actually wasn't so heavy-handed narrative-wise, but there was something to be said about like taking over a whole system and then the galaxy as either Imperial or the Rebellion.
Or like the CES or the clone. Yes. The clones in Battlefront 2. But yeah, right. No, I mean like the overarching strategy elements of that.
Right, like like having those almost like a better Star Fox, right? Like seeing those maps like open up, like I'm gonna take Tatooine opposed to like Hoth or something like that.
Yeah,
like just
I loved that.
Just being able to branch out and
it's like playing Risk but in a video game.
Yeah, because you manage your fleets as well.
You did manage
build a new fleet for like 1,000 credits.
Yeah,
get an Imperial Star Destroyer.
Star Wars Risk for context.
Yeah, same here.
Star Wars
Risk. I mean,
Lord of the Rings was better.
That was nice to play. Yeah. But there's a lot about Battlefront, the last one, that I wish they could. Yeah, there's a lot. I don't know if you guys want to keep going.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't play very much of this game at all. Like only a couple rounds because like you guys didn't find the shooting that exciting. But I was just disappointed to see them cheapen like the characters and the themes of this world by just making it a very superficial experience and just mixing and matching for the sake of, oh my god, like you're Darth Vader fighting on Hoth, like. Wow. Okay.
Cool.
Dude, I am on 100% the same page. Like, you think about all the best Star Wars games, like namely like even this Knights of the Old Republic, like
So good.
Shadows of the Empire.
I mean, yeah, even Shadows. Like, yeah,
Yes.
like you're still playing something very different, regardless of it being on Hoth. Like that was kind of neat how they did tie-ins. But yeah, like to vamp on, why is Luke in Return of the Jedi outfit on Hoth?
Yeah.
Like it's just these elements. I don't need that. What I want is to feel, if you're gonna make me immersed in this world, I want to pretend I am my own guy. This is cool. I'm a Rodian or whatever it is. Let me feel that. I don't need to see the Emperor doing barrel rolls with
Dude, yeah.
Like I just don't want any of that. I want something new, and I think, ever since Disney bought it, I'm not going to vamp too much on that, but we've talked about before as far as there's such a drive that I feel like that's misinterpreted of like showing what we know to be Star Wars, like original trilogy even. I think they won't. I'm trying to say is I know it's really difficult for them for any property to make their own Star Wars game without double checking with Lucas film, right? Like that's such a very, I'm sure, like tough thing to do. But that being said, I don't need to see Han Solo anymore. Yeah. I don't need to see these things. I want something very fresh.
I mean, someone Major Meteor on Twitter had been asking what we want to see with Battlefront 2. And then he said, personally, I want to see prequel theme content return. I'm actually, oddly enough, I'm there with him because in Battlefront 2, the older one, I really liked. So the one thing, I don't like the prequels as movies, but the one thing I do like
is the action.
Is the action and the Clone War aspects.
I love the Clone Wars. Yeah.
And like seeing more variety, maybe even like 2 more factions, like the Trade Federation or the CES, the Confederacy, and then also the Clone Army. That'd be really cool to see in Battlefront 2.
I could totally get behind having some Clone Wars themed content.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Republic Commando. I like that game a lot.
Hell yeah.
Kind of flies under the radar.
The other thing,
like Gravity Rush.
The other thing that and you mentioned like spaceships earlier before the show is if there's one letdown that feels like a nice cop out was the presence of tokens or power-ups on the field. Yeah. Where, I mean, even you could just, I feel like even Battlefield 1 was kind of doing that, right? Where you had to be in the map in order to spawn into a tank or something like that. There is that lack of joy of rushing to any kind of vehicle and hopping in, like taking off in an X-Wing. No, you just start in the air. Like, yeah. Also, in that respect, where's the strategy involved? If you had 5-6 friends, it's like, okay, cool. Excuse me. 2 of you guys get in the air, and then I'll get in like an AT-AT, and we'll tackle this field. You can't do that. Yeah. You have no idea where you're getting to. You just spawn, and then hopefully I'll come across a vehicle token that's randomly dropped. I mean, that's just.
I mean, you said it before. It feels like a cop out. Like it's just I'll pick up a. It's just it takes away all of the like excitement. I mean, basically what you said already.
Yeah,
I'm right there with you.
Yeah.
I jumped into this game and then 2 hours in, it started losing its luster for sure. It didn't. I want it to be more of a shooter, honestly. I think making it, giving it the Star Wars sheen and paying, due respects to its characters. What is this? I didn't even know you could be R2-D2. Is this DLC?
Sure.
Okay. What is that? Like an EMP blast he just sent out?
I think you control. I think it's a certain mode, like
all right. Actually, I'm
defend the bomb or something like that. Well, these are even the DLC. Like I kind of covered the Scarif update that was underwhelming for me again, and I think it was just another excuse to like to look at the property of Star Wars and make content around that, opposed to the other way around, and having some kind of creative drive to make something different. No, it's like, all right, let's do Scarif and just.
It's Star Wars in service of a game.
Yes,
when it should be the other way around.
Exactly.
I want DICE to take its experience with Battlefield and implement that a little more here with Battlefront 2. But yeah, like Callie said, the single player campaign is the drawing aspect for me right now because I don't love the multiplayer of the first game.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. So, as usual, let us know if you're in the chat right now or if you're going to be watching this on YouTube or GameSpot at a later date. Let us know what you want from Battlefront 2. Like I said, later next week, there will be more about it. We'll see. Again, this could be nothing, but like EA and DICE are saying it's their biggest reveal ever, but they say that all the time. But
what does that mean?
I don't know.
How do you quantify that?
That's why I said this could mean nothing. But anyway, yeah, let us know what you think.
Curtain.
It's like literally physically huge.
Just the biggest physical.
What if they just destroy a planet in real life?
That would be
Jupiter.
sick.
Yeah.
Like old school, like original Star Wars trailer. Like they have. This
No.
planet, and
Like,
it
in
blows
real
up, and
life.
it's like Battlefront 2, and they're like, there
No,
you go.
Dice itself destroys like Jupiter in
practical.
real
They
life.
like reinstate
Oh.
Pluto as a planet and then explode it.
Oh,
Yeah.
I think Rob's still excited though.
Yeah.
yeah.
Or they could just destroy the entire Andromeda galaxy and we won't have to play a game set there anymore. Bam! Roasted. Leave your thoughts in the comments below.
Hey, if we don't get what we want out of Battlefront reveal next week, I'm pretty sure we're getting a Star Wars Episode 8 trailer,
Oh, yeah. That'll be great.
and that is something I will watch many, many times.
Do you like Star Wars?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Like I said, let us know what you want in Battlefront 2. Thank you. And thank you, Major Meteor, for the question. Cool. Sweet. Aside from Battlefront 2, looking to the rest of the year after a stacked quarter one, I want to talk about the games we're most excited about. I've got release dates for the ones that are confirmed. I've got release windows for the ones that aren't. Really soon, Outlast 2,
Yeah.
April 25th. I'm super excited for this. At PAX East in 2016, I played this, again, Mary Kish and I played this, being horror game fans. I know, Kelly, you really like horror games and horror in general.
I played like 2 hours of Outlast.
That demo was awesome, right?
Yeah, well, I played extended. Unfortunately, gameplay didn't record; only audio recorded.
That'll happen.
But it really gave me like Blair Witch vibes almost. I mean, aside from holding a camera pretty much the whole time, it's kind of this backwoods. They have this like weird religious aspect, and it's creepy. It's really creepy, and I think that the setting works with Outlast sort of like chase stuff pretty well. Like, I'm excited.
Yeah, the looking over your shoulder mechanic. It seems minor, but it makes it terrifying when someone's chasing you. I really like the first game. I'm excited to see how this is kind of blending different. Like there was a Poltergeist vibe. There was a Texas Chainsaw Massacre thing, kind of like Resident Evil 7 took after. I don't know. I'm looking forward to this game a lot. And it's right on the horizon, April 25th. 2 days after that, Warhammer 40,000 Dawn of War 3. We did a segment last week on what's the state of the RTS genre. This game looks good. I played a little bit of this down in LA. I think it was during E3 Judges Week last year. It's been in development for a decent amount of time, but I've been craving. I played Homeworld Deserts of Carrick the other week finally, after not really getting into it last year. And StarCraft Remastered got announced. We were talking about whether there's going to be a resurgence of RTS or whether there even was a decline. But this game looks fantastic. I'm not a big Warhammer fan. Dave Jewett over in the UK office loves Warhammer stuff, but this game just looks great. They have these Titan units, where it's kind of hero units, but they're massive. The scale of this game looks really appealing to me. Ashes of the Singularity last year, that's kind of a touting facet, was that it had like massive scale. You could zoom out to a battalion level, zoom into a unit. This seems like it has that, and I'm really looking forward to that. I don't know if any RTS fans here. Kelly, you just reviewed Halo Wars 2, but
Yeah,
I don't know. Yeah, I love RTS games.
I mean, I'm not a big Warhammer person.
Yeah, but I wasn't.
I'd maybe paint the little things, little figures.
Yeah, Warhammer 40,000 specifically, I'm not. And then neither with Warhammer, but I liked Total War Warhammer last year. So I'm hoping that they can use these properties to, with Dawn of War 3 to make it really fun too. Right after that, May 5th is a game I am pretty amped for, Prey.
Yeah.
So excited for Prey.
Yeah, another good immersive sim after Dishonored 2 last year, which was fantastic. And definitely not the same kind of game as Zelda or anything, but some of that emerging gameplay that we like talking about. I feel like some of those moments, especially because Prey is open world, it's just one big mission on the space station rather than discrete levels like in Dishonored 2 or Dishonored 1. Obviously, I'm mentioning that because Arcane Studios is working on Prey. They made Dishonored. I can't wait for this game. Everything I've seen about it. We did a live stream with Ralph Colantonio and Ricardo Bear from the team. We do have a lot more stuff about Prey coming out soonish, and Arcane Studios specifically. But the fact that, the immersive sim is making a comeback, it seems to, in recent years after, they were all cult classics in the 90s with System Shock, the original Thief, Deus Ex, the original one, Ultima Underworld being the first one. Ultima Underworld being the first 3D RPG. Yeah, you stab yourself in the eye to get upgrades. But I can't wait for this game. Rob, you played a little bit of it.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to see. I feel like this game has a little bit of that sandbox element of combining powers and like kind of, even that with that glue gun, like making your own routes. But the mimic, right? I think eventually you get the power to turn into objects around you. and then you can use like a kind of kinetic blast, and just I'm expecting to see a lot of cool gifts and stuff like that. You know, almost in the same respect of like what Zelda did. At least that's what I'm hoping for.
Yeah.
But it looks really cool in that respect. One thing I'm like a little hesitant about is the types of aliens. What are they called in this game? They're called something. Anyways, they all look very similar. I wonder how that can affect you after your 40 hours, 50 hours. Like, do you get bored of seeing like the same black goo type of alien? I don't know. I'm just hoping there's a lot of diversity with these things. Is all I'm saying. I don't know.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to that game, seeing what they can do with that. May 16th, Injustice 2. I don't know if you're a fan of Gods Among you like fighting games, but are you a fan of Injustice?
Fighting games. I don't love the NetherRealm style of fighting. And I liked Mortal Kombat, the last Mortal Kombat, but I did not get into Injustice, mostly because I'm just not into this universe. But I know people who do kind of love this stuff, and even the fighting game community definitely embraced Injustice as well. So I mean, I think this game will have some excitement around it. I'm not personally jazzed about it, but people will be. I don't know. It sounds pretty underwhelming.
Yeah.
That was the most generic
I
statement.
know. No, I know it is.
People will be excited.
I just don't. I mean, I think this has its audience. It's not going to really extend beyond that, right?
Yeah.
And I'm not that audience. I'd love to know what the audience thinks, actually.
Yeah, I mean, because the
Our
first
audience,
Injustice
you know?
released before Mortal Kombat X,
Yeah.
and then I'm
But
eager
there was one before that too, which was like a weird hybrid of Mortal Kombat and DC characters.
Yeah, but it was rated teen, so like when Joker fired a weapon, it was that. I mean, it made sense for the Joker, but there wasn't much gore. But NetherRealm did it though, right?
I believe so.
So then, yeah, when Injustice came along, and then, I mean, it's not going to be as gory as Mortal Kombat, but from what I've seen, the characters look fun here. Joey Yee and Eric Tay. I don't know how excited they are about it, but I mean, they were playing it. They're playing that alpha and the beta.
There's another fighting game I'm more excited for, Mike. Is it on your list? Why the hell isn't it on your list? Tekken 7 on June 2nd, god damn it.
Well, let's. Oh yeah, wait, hold on.
Oh, there it is.
Let's talk about Tekken 7 on
There
June
it is.
7th.
Cool.
Yeah.
Go.
Katsuhiro Harada is a guy who makes great fighting games. He's very passionate about what he does, and Tekken 7 has been stewing for a while. It came out in arcades months ago, maybe even a year now, and they've been perfecting it for consoles. And Tekken kind of had like a weird period of a couple years, but it's since taken it. They've seemed to be taking their time to do something that feels to me, it looks a little bit more like classic. So yeah, I'm really stoked for this because I'm a little worn out on Street Fighter now. I don't love the rosters. I don't love what they did with the whole package of 5. But they seem to be adding so many things to make this game interesting, be it characters, be it modes, be it wacky costumes and levels. Like, I'll take the grand ideas, the deep ones, and the superficial ones. And I'm just really excited to play a fighting game that's going to feel different. I don't know.
I don't know anything about Tekken.
Yeah.
I played one, like 2 back in the day, I think. And from what I understand, that's a decent Tekken.
2, yeah. I mean, 3 is kind of like where the series like became really popular in the eyes of like the whole fighting game community. For a while, it was like 1 and 2. Like, yeah, PlayStation has a decent fighting game, but like with Soul Calibur, Tekken 3 was the one that really took the series, to its highest high. And there's been a lot of Tekken games since then. Obviously, 5 was really good, but 6 kind of didn't do much for a lot of people. Tag Tournament 2 didn't do much for a lot of people. So I don't know. Like, I don't think that this game is going to be huge, but I can't wait to play it, and I hope there's going to be other people in the office that want to play it as well. Hopefully I'm not alone.
Cool. And then in August, which kind of just got announced, so it's crazy. It's August 22nd release date. Middle-earth: Shadow of War, another game I'm really excited for personally. And Rob and Callie, you were saying both pretty pumped for it.
Yeah.
I didn't say anything like that.
Oh, you were just nodding pretty profusely.
Oh yeah.
I said Rob, but then you were like
I'm
headbanging,
just
so I was like,
I'm
oh, she seemed excited.
I'm not doing that. I'm just listening to you. I'm
Yeah.
an active listener.
Rob, what are you excited for in this game?
It looks like the perfect sequel, like with like new mechanics and stuff. Like again,
A lot of them, right? Like structurally, too.
Yeah, exactly. But like, yeah, in its essence, just a sequel of like, where it left off from the previous game seems to like really coincide with like, yeah, new mechanics. And, in the first game, you amount to building a whole army, and it's like here you get to kind of show it.
Yeah.
And that seems pretty exciting. It almost makes me want to play the first game again because of just that idea. But I think if there's one thing, the first game, I don't know, we'll have to see. But the first game kind of got a little repetitive to me, even with that Nemesis system. I don't know how much you played, but eventually you kind of started seeing like similar guys reappear on the map after you would kill them, as far as like war chiefs. But this again looks to kind of widen the differences in like, you know, war chiefs and like personalities. Again, you can like you have like a what was the one thing they talked about where you take over these what are they called, strongholds, right? And you then have to appoint one of your guys to do so. And previously one of the guys saved your life. You could appoint him or not, and if you don't, he could quit and throw down his weapons and then come back, you know, 20 hours later to be on the opposing side and I want to kick your ass. So I don't know. There seems to be a lot going on with that Nemesis system now.
Middle Earth dating sim.
Oh, now I'm excited.
Yes.
I'm in. Oh, that head.
Man,
That is the
Gonna
ultimate.
date an orc.
that first date didn't go well. Yeah, I like what they're doing. Like you were saying, Rob, I love what they're doing with this overarching strategy of, you know, going from Osgiliath to Minas Morgul to Cirith Ungol and kind of taking all these different fortresses in the, you know, the Mordor universe, and, you know, building up an army rather than this smaller battalion and having this core of lieutenants that you are kind of learning different traits and saying, oh, the master of this fortress uses fire and whatnot, so I'm going to bring this guy who's on a warg, so he's immune to it, so maybe he'll save my life. I have a spy that's been there for like 3 months now. Maybe he'll help me out, as they show in this trailer. We did a segment, we kind of actually commentated on this alpha gameplay, so you can go watch that if you search on YouTube. Search the lobby. Shadow of War announcement, we walked through that. I would love to talk about it more, but we already did that. Right after that, September 8th, that we just found out, Destiny 2.
Yeah.
We did a segment last week on what we want from that. Callie, you seem pretty excited about that.
I am. I'm excited for more good space shooting with hopefully a world that keeps me coming back for more than just good loot. I'm really looking forward to that. I really love the shooting mechanics in Destiny, and I think that although we haven't seen that much, I think that the tone of the teasers we have seen has been promising. Just like, oh, they're already setting up that like something really bad has happened, and there's a lot of attitude on Cade 6's part. So yeah.
How do you feel about that?
His attitude? I mean, like I thought it was like a lot,
Yeah.
but I think for a trailer, it was like that's probably how they're gonna lean into it. But I think the fact that they're in like a blown out area and there's clearly been an event gives me hope, if that makes sense. Like,
Yeah, I'm hoping they make better use of their universe in terms of storytelling or just the overall just kind of engrossing me in it. Because I didn't feel that with the first game. Taken King kind of remedied that in a few ways, but hopefully they push that further here.
I mean, he was like the comic relief, right?
Nathan
it's sort of
Fillion.
his job.
You don't necessarily take a comic relief and put him front and center, right? As a main character, like you would hope they don't use him too much.
When Nathan Fillion's voicing him, you do.
I mean, he is
yeah.
incredibly awesome in these trailers as far as his voiceover and everything. But yeah, who knows?
To move on to games that don't have set release dates, but this one's slated for September. Red Dead Redemption 2. I think that's the other one people are.
Really excited for that.
Yeah.
too.
I did have a question from Twitter about whether we really think it's going to release in September. That was from Andrew Klein, 28. I think we talked about this like right after the announcement, right? Like a couple months ago. We did a stream. Okay, we did a stream. Me, Rob, and Jake. I don't know if we have footage of that. It was very early in the morning. Us three were crammed on this small couch in our studio. We kind of commentated on the trailer, being Red Dead Redemption fans. But Pete, you don't think it's going to come out in September?
No, I just have a hunch it's not going to happen.
Man, they can push this out whenever they want.
Yeah. They could poop this out.
They could literally,
Right.
see a game like Destiny coming and be like, well, we don't want to launch next to that. So
Yeah.
push it. Why not? I'm not saying that will be the reason. I just don't have a lot of hope.
Outside of GTA 5 on PC, has Rockstar ever been known to delay something far? They're usually But I mean, how long have they been
they
working on this since?
I mean, not necessarily PC, but they delayed the online
Right.
portion for a while, and then they delayed the heists of the online many times, and that was a huge uproar. Like I think they did that like 4 times or something like that.
Yeah, because I mean, GTA Online was more of a platform, right, than a singular game. So they're trying to update that almost like in a Destiny style. But I'm eager to see what they do with multiplayer for Red Dead Redemption 2. I mean, I'm obviously curious to see what they do with the characters and with the story, with the open world. But I'm looking forward to seeing how they kind of implement that. Maybe like gangs kind of riding across the prairie.
This is not releasing on PC though, right? Isn't that later? Then they show a title in the end. I think PC is not.
Is that like a subsequent release?
Yeah, like
I
in
don't
the
know.
same vein. I don't know. Maybe someone in the chat.
So that's slated for September right now. And then also sometime in 2017, they haven't really, once they delayed it from last year in December, Ubisoft has not given a date for South Park, The Fractured Butthole.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to that.
Butthole.
I actually finally played the first one like a year ago.
It was really funny.
It was really
But
funny.
I love South Park.
Yeah.
I'm really excited.
Yeah, and this is instead of going off the the RPG tropes the first game did, the
Yeah.
fantasy stuff. This is going for like Marvel and superheroes and DC kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Plenty of material there.
Yeah, and I loved playing this game because it felt like a season of South Park.
Totally.
Oh,
Yes,
sorry, the first game.
absolutely.
It felt like a season of South Park, but I mean, I wasn't in it for the fantastic gameplay. Although the turn-based combat was pretty fun. I liked it for what it was. Obviously, Trey Parker and Matt Stone worked heavily on it,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and same with this, I believe.
And you can tell because those guys play games. I mean, you've heard interviews with like they play Call of Duty and stuff like that. But like,
Yeah.
what I would say is like, they're very great at satire, right? And that was very apparent in this last game was that they weren't just making fun of the fantasy genre, but they were making fun of games and themselves, right? Like QuickTime, and I think even going to Canada, right? Like how they like. I'm not going to spoil it, but it's been out for so long. But yeah, how they had really nice jokes and spins like within the mechanics themselves, which is fun.
Earl Davenport's was just asking if there's any release date for Battlefront 2 yet. We just spoke about that last segment, but no, there might be a release date next week. I'm assuming there will be during Star Wars Celebration when they make that announcement. Last game I wanted to touch on is Super Mario Odyssey for the Switch. It'll be this holiday season, I think they originally said.
Yeah.
Did they say they're thinking December?
I think they're thinking October.
Okay.
I don't know why I have that in my head, but whenever people bring this up, that's what I think about.
Yeah, after looking it up, it's just still 2017 right now.
Okay.
But who knows? I think I'm excited for this, but I honestly don't know.
I am not yet.
I am. When they start showing the weirder stuff than just this Nintendified New York, it looks more fun. But
I mean, look, these games are not necessarily about their worlds; they're about their mechanics and the way that the levels are designed around that. And like the fact that Mario can make his own platform at any time now with his hat and jump off of that, like simple change, but that's going to have a big impact on how he feels as a moving and jumping platforming character. And you have to imagine like. I mean, what was the last game? It was Super Mario 3D World, right? That game was a pretty safe play. Like, I wonder how many interesting ideas they've been holding off for like the next big Mario. And this is the one that is supposed to be like, yeah, we're not really aiming for mainstream. We're aiming for like the people who loved Super Mario 64, right? That I hate to use the phrase, but like that core gamer audience. So I hope they try to do some really interesting things with this one.
The real people next to Mario freaks me out like more than it should. I'm like, why are they normal looking? I don't like it.
And you look at it and like, what if you saw that Mario walking around downtown?
It's like that Simpsons
freak
episode
out.
where he goes into real life and he's walking around, he's all 3D.
Yeah,
I don't like it.
we'll see.
Freaks me out.
yeah, I'm gonna play this. I mean, they just reinvented Zelda kind of in a way, and
Yeah. So have faith. God dang it.
God damn it.
now they just need Metroid.
But let's really talk about Xenoblade Chronicles X, the game we've all been waiting for.
Yes.
Or Xenoblade Chronicles 2, I should say.
Yeah. Someone mentioned that in chat earlier. Forgive me for not
good.
remembering your name.
Thank you,
but
someone.
a few people did, and they said it. Oh, I think it was Eric Green, maybe. I don't know. They said it might be like Game of the Year contender, but
I wouldn't go that far. Xenoblade Chronicles X had a lot of issues. But what I'm excited for is the fact that Monolith Soft, obviously, who worked on Breath of the Wild, they have to have gleaned some really interesting stuff from that project, and I would not be surprised to see that benefit Xenoblade in some way. X had a lot. X was really cool for a lot of ways. Like you had this big game, and then at one point you had mechs, you had giant robots that you could pilot, and that was like 60, 70 hours into the game. Like introduced some really crazy concepts. But you want to talk about Zelda's world and the scale and like how high it is and how interesting just a simple environment can be. That is Monolith Soft's work, and that has always been their strong suit. So I'm really excited to see how they take that to the next step with this game.
Cool. As always, if you're in the chat or if you're going to be watching this on YouTube, let us know in the comments if we missed anything that you wanted to talk about that you're looking forward to in 2017. Let us know what you think of our picks. Let us know what you're most excited for. And thank you. Cool.
Can I say something real quick? I just realized
it would have helped to do it before that closeout, but yeah.
It's fine. It doesn't matter. So if we're back on Star Wars Battlefront 2, what I'm thinking is that if we're looking and comparing it to the previous two games, how you played as clones and original trilogy stormtroopers, they're gonna have the new age stormtroopers. This whole new conflict.
Yeah.
It's got to be that.
Yeah.
How else?
That makes more sense.
How else can it not be that?
Oh,
if they're gonna continue this game for next year
Right.
and coincide with the movie,
Yeah, they don't want to go back to the Clone Wars.
you're gonna be doing
man.
you're gonna be doing the battles of Star Killer Base.
I mean, if they're smart,
So obvious.
It has to be.
Damn it.
Yeah, I just like kind of clicked. Someone said something like remotely like close to that. Like
I don't care. I still want Clone Wars stuff. I'm not backing down. You guys can all back down.
I'm not saying like.
I mean, I just didn't
living
even
in the
occur
past,
to me.
man.
No.
I just forgot. It just didn't occur to me.
But anyway, like I said, in terms of streams going on this week, we have a lot, right? Tomorrow is Triforce with these two.
oh yeah,
They're going to be doing it blindfolded, taking turns, or is that not happening?
no, that's happening.
It is
it's
happening.
happening.
We're going to be
That's
tackling
gonna be dumb.
shrines blindfolded with the other person, kind of directing.
Okay.
We'll see.
Cool.
That should be fun. I'm excited for that.
Yeah.
Yeah. What are their streams? We have Tim Schafer coming in Tuesday afternoon next week. I'm going to be hosting a stream with him from Double Fine. They're doing Full Throttle Remastered. We're going to play that for about half an hour, and he's going to do a Q&A about it. Obviously not a new game. I mean, there's a Persona 5 live stream that Callie and Miguel did that you can watch. It should be archived on their YouTube channel. You can watch that if you're interested in that game, which you should be.
Talk about localization.
You talk about localization a lot?
Yeah, not a
with
lot.
shitty
We speak in
accents
yeah.
or pronunciation.
No, also just like how when you meet Sojiro, you say, please take care of me. And it's like the worst translation of Yoroshiku onegaishimasu I've ever seen.
What is that? What is that supposed to mean?
It's like if you wanted to say it in another stiff way, you'd say like much obliged, maybe. But it's just they were like, only weebs are gonna play this.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Gotcha. And then I mean we have. I think there's a couple more streams sometime this week. I forget what they are, but yeah, stay tuned to our Twitch channel, our YouTube channel. We have that Nier Automata giveaway, that black box edition. Shiva in our Twitch chat had posted it earlier, but if you go to GameSpot's Twitter account and retweet that tweet, later in the week we'll pick a winner in North America. Apologies to anybody outside of that region. And then if you don't follow us and then retweet it. For more on Persona 5, to do a little self-promotion myself, our reboot episode that Jake Decker and I do, our show, is going to be up this Sunday, and it's going to be about Persona 5. Looking forward to talking more about that in depth. Talk about things that, like I haven't yet. So I'm looking forward to that. Anything else that I'm missing? No. Make that noise. Okay, cool. Everybody, thank you for joining. If you're in Twitch, you're in YouTube, you're on GameSpot. We always enjoy having you. We will see you next week as always. And thanks for stopping by.